This week on the interview, we talk with Andy Tudor from Slightly Mad Studios about their new racing simulation game. Hey everybody, and welcome to The Interview with Q, brought to you by BagoGames.com. I'm your host, Q. Today we're talking with Andy Tudor from Slightly Mad Studios. Welcome to the interview.
Hey there, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Busy as always. So yeah, everything, nothing stops over here. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've never personally been involved with video game development, but I'm sure that it's extremely crazy and busy at times.
Yeah, it's kind of like a roller coaster. Some days it's you get a chance to breathe, and you get a chance to kind of sit back and look at the game, and really appreciate it, and get to actually play it as if you were a gamer. And then other days you're just like you're wading through like all the stuff to do, and things are going at a million miles an hour. So yeah, it's we're in a busy period at the moment.
Yeah, I can see you guys are getting a lot done as far as the game goes. I have to congratulate you guys because I know that you sent me over a press release and email yesterday. You guys just passed a massive milestone. I think it was on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. We hit €1 million of funding, which is phenomenal. We've day one when we released, we got such a massive influx of people and people posting on the forums, and we saw the funding coming in, and we were all like, "Oh my god, this is going to work! This is absolutely amazing!" And to still have that level of people contributing to the game, and the passion from the community still there 6 months later, it's fantastic. It's a dream come true.
Yeah, it's really awesome. You guys have a lot of support behind you, and I can see why, because just with the information I've seen and with the screenshots I've seen, I can't wait to take a look at the game itself. But it looks great, and I know that you guys have done this kind of stuff in the past. Just for our viewers, can you just give us a little bit of overview of the company itself and a couple of the projects you've worked on?
Yeah, so people are probably aware of stuff we've done in the past. I mean, because we've been around for quite a long time under various different names. So but the team has stayed the same, i.e. the people that used to work on the old GTRs, GT Legends, GTR2 with Simbin. Those guys came with us, and then we formed Blimey Games, which we did BMW M3 Challenge, which had like 10 million downloads or something like that. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then we turned into Slightly Mad Studios, which is when people probably are most aware of us for doing the Need for Speed Shift series. And now we're doing Project Cars, so there's like a natural evolution there. And yeah, it's great that the actual team is the same, so there's a lot of experience there from those previous games, a lot of things that we've been meaning to get to and are finally getting to those things. And yeah, as I say, it's just a natural evolution of, like, you can see that where we've come from and where we're going to now. Yeah,
so you got started off as a team working for other developers and other studios and stuff, and you just kind of progressed to the point where you guys are kind of making your own thing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone at the studio is a massive racing car fan, and that's a great start right there. If you've got people who aren't really interested in what you're doing, then you're not going to get as good results. Sometimes you need those people in your team who are slightly more detached from the situation. But overall, we've got guys who are willing to spend their own free time on weekends, things like that. Just making a car look better, or making the feedback on a wheel better, and things like that. And yeah, so they naturally want to see new things in the game that haven't been done before.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you guys actually created the engine that you guys used to make Shift, and you're using the same engine for this as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this on other titles. Yeah, I mean the game uses internally, we have our own Madness engine, and we use that for many games that we create. So, but I think there's a bit of a misnomer out there that you're using an engine that is maybe 2-3 years old, so you expect the graphics and all that kind of stuff to be 2-3 years old, and it's not really the case. It's more of the case that the engine was built from the ground up in preparation for this current generation of hardware and the next generation of hardware. So it's very modular, so things can be kind of plugged in, improved, things can be swapped in, like, whether it's DirectX 9, then 10, then 11, shaders, all that kind of stuff. So the engine is bang right up to date, and it's like right on the cutting edge of what modern day PCs are capable of handling. So it uses the same engine, but it's so vastly improved over previous games. It's almost unrecognizable.
Right. Yeah. So I loved the way it reacted with the physics and looked in the shift, and I know that as the time goes on, you guys update it and stuff. It's just going to be getting better. So I'm really excited to see what it's going to do now. I guess we can get into the meat of this whole thing now. Now that we've gotten through the introductions.
Okay, right.
Project Cars, is that the official title, or is that the working title?
No, that's just the working title until we think of something better.
Okay. So why don't you give us a little overview, if you can, about what the game is and kind of what's going to be involved with once it releases, what the players are going to be able to do and are capable of.
Right. So I was talking about this evolution that we have. So, we worked on dedicated PC simulation racing games in the past. And then along came Need for Speed, and we wanted to make sure that the usual Need for Speed crowd kind of moved over to a more realistic racing experience. And through Shift 1 and Shift 2, we were going in a direction of becoming more sim again. Going back to those GT Legends days. Yep. Project Cars is the next evolution of that, basically. There is stuff that we didn't get round to in the Need for Speed games that we wanted to, but we knew that we couldn't in those games, either they just weren't appropriate to that particular game, or they were very technically difficult to do. We wanted to concentrate on different areas instead. So we want to get to things like weather, which is and pit stops, which are like some of the number one requests from the community for this kind of game. So Project Cars basically is everything we've ever wanted to do. There's a few games out there called Forza and Gran Turismo, which you might have heard of. Mm-hmm. And they'll always be on these pedestals of being the best, PS3 game out there for racing, the best Xbox game out there for racing. But if you look at the PC, there's lots of different competing titles, whether it's R Factor or some of the other games out there, Netcar Pro and things like that. But there's no clear winner out there, and we think we're in a really good position to at least put up a fight and kind of win that PC space there. And also, we've got the new WiiU coming out as well, so we think there's definitely a opportunity there to kind of dominate that space and have a really engrossing sim racer out there too. But there's no way you're going to do this unless you've got everything that all the competing products have got, and you've got the best features in there, features that people have never seen before, like loads of variety, and making it like a really modern game. So Project Cars is very ambitious in that case, in that we want it to have, pound for pound, it's got every feature that the competing titles have got, and it also stands on its own as something new and fresh. Graphically, it looks amazing. Handling, it looks amazing. It's got them the cars that the community want, and they've been able to see how we've made those cars along the way. We've got the biggest track selection. It's got social networking features. It's got mobile support, so you can potentially set up your car on the go or stay in contact with your friends on the go. It's got, we want it to have absolutely everything in there, so that we're in a really strong position at least.
Yeah, that you're getting me excited just listening to you talk. It's after reading a few things on it, there's a lot of really interesting things that I've never seen in this kind of racing sim before. The franchise mode itself, where you start off in the very bottom, you can kind of branch your way out. Is that am I looking at that correctly?
Yeah, the career mode was kind of originally it was kind of inspired by things like games like sports titles like Madden and Tiger Woods and things like that, where you do play a pro. You play a pro football player or something, well, why is that any different to playing a pro racing driver? The idea that you are, like in the NHL games, you start out in a farm team and you're trying to get scouted to go into the major leagues, and then when you do, you go on to then win the Stanley Cup. That feels awesome, right?
Yep.
As opposed to grinding away for XP or grinding away for cash and repeating the same events again and again so that you can get a better car, so you can go to another event. It's just boring. That's been done before, and it's not what happens in real life. So with the career mode in the game, we really wanted to shake things up and say, no, you're playing a pro racing driver, and these are the opportunities that arise within that motorsports discipline, and these are the kind of decisions you need to make, and these are all the different ways that you could point your career, almost like an RPG or an MMO. You're like, do you want to be the wizard? Do you want to be the barbarian? Which way you're going to go about that? Which things you're going to level up? That kind of thing. So in the career mode, it's like, okay, I'm gonna start potentially in something like karting or midget racing or something like that. Something that you hear professional drivers like Mario Andretti and Lewis Hamilton, talking about.
Yep.
And then you can go off and do whatever you want. If you're into GT racing, there's a path there for you. If you want to go off and do some sort of IndyCar racing, there's a path there for you. And there's no goal. There's no ultimate goal in the game. If you want to stop at and become the Indy Lights champion 3 years in a row, that's fine. That's your personal goal to achieve. And you can stop right there and do that. If you really want to go off and do the ultimate, Le Mans prototype, racing, then there's a kind of 0 to hero progression there as well. So it's really up to you. There's loads of replayability. I guarantee that your experience in career is going to be completely different to somebody else's, and that's really exciting. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be able to just kind of pick it up and play through as much as you want, and then kind of go back to the beginning and start over again and try a totally different career path.
Exactly. Have different profiles. Play one with your friend, play co-op with a friend, or play one solo. Completely forget career and only play multiplayer, like with the team management features in the game. Yeah, it's totally up to you. So we're keeping it nice and free, but also making sure there's a lot of depth there.
Sure. And as far as the vehicles and cars go, what are you guys planning on? I mean, do you have like official sponsors as far as cars go, or are they, you know what I mean? I'm saying the word escapes me is what I'm talking about.
Licensing.
Licensing, that's right. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, so I always say that, lawyers love to spend a lot of time on everything, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we can't. We sometimes we say, oh, we'd really love like BMW, or we'd really love Pagani, that kind of thing, and the community are like, yeah, we'd really love to see those cars in the game as well, So we go off and talk to those people, but unless there's a signature on a piece of paper,
sure.
we can't announce whether
sure.
things have been. We don't want to get people's hopes up for a start,
sure.
but also things fall through at the later legal stages and things. It takes a long time to do. So we have a list of. I mean, you can see from the career mode that we want to have GT cars in there. We want to have like Formula 2 cars in there. We want to have British touring cars, things like that. So that's the desire. That's the goal. And yeah, we will do everything we can to get those vehicles into the game, or at least create a reasonably accurate facsimile of those, so you can get that same kind of experience, even though it may not have the official badge on it.
Sure. Yeah. And you mentioned the multiplayer teams. I was reading about that a little bit. Can you describe what exactly that is? I know it's like you build teams with friends and manage it together, but.
Yeah, so think of it like guild management in a RPG or an MMO. Everyone in previous games, it's all about you. It's all about you being some sort of superhero who goes online with the fastest car and the best car, and you go on there to kind of whoop some ass. Basically, you want to get first place. Well, this kind of expands upon that and says, well, okay, you can still do that. It's all about winning. Still, it's all about you getting to the pole position, but also you're part of a team. And when we talk about teams, we're talking about you and your friends who are all into racing, who potentially are all on different time zones. So the chances of playing together at the same time are very slim. But there's still ways that you can arrange time, so you can say, okay, right, next Saturday, are we all free? Okay, cool, we're going to have this GT3 race at Silverstone or something like that, and you can organise that date, you can organise who's going to be driving. That'd be great for an endurance race, wouldn't it? Where all five of you can take turns. You can also assign roles, so you can say, okay, you're going to be in charge of all the liveries for the cars. You're going to be in charge of the setups for the cars. You're going to be the test driver who's going to test these things out, and everyone can kind of contribute to the team, and you can recruit new members to the team using the accolade system that we've got in the game.
This definitely sounds like you guys have putting a lot of work into it, and I think it shows. And I honestly am really excited to more about. I was reading about it the other day, and I was like, "Wow, this is awesome! Why haven't I heard about this before?" Because I stumbled across it while I was just kind of surfing the internet, and I was like,
Right.
"Wow, this looks awesome!" Now that I'm actually talking to you about it, the more that we talk about it, the more excited that I get, and I think that's great. That's one of the reasons I wanted to be able to do this, with talk with developers, because I think that developers can get people more excited about the games that they're making than anybody else can, because they're passionate about it, and you can tell when they talk about it, they're passionate about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the WMD portal, the way that we're making the game, we can talk to you every single day. You guys can go behind the scenes, and you can see what's going on, how we make the game, because that's kind of a hidden art that people maybe aren't really aware of. As far as we're concerned, we're used to making games in a vacuum. We go into the dark for 2 years and then pop out, and gradually information starts getting released. Then, and you're hoping that the things that are getting released, are really resonating with people. But the way that we're doing it over here is saying, okay, well, we're laying all our cards out on the table. Okay, this is what this is what we're making. We think it's cool. Do you guys think it's cool as well? And if some bits don't, so if some people say, oh, actually, that feature really sucks, then we can just we can stop work on it and concentrate on something that people really do want. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So you mentioned your World of Mass Development, which is, you mentioned the acronym for it, but that's what it stands for. And can you, you've described some of it, but can you just give our listeners a little bit of an overview of it, so that they can, and tell them what they can do when they get over there and they take a look at it?
Okay, so if you look at other kind of crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, whatever you want to call it, systems out there, like Kickstarter, let's take for example. Kickstarter, all you can do really is hand over some money, and you may get some updates now and again of how the development is going, and you may or may not have very much input into that. You're really kind of like just donating money, right? So it's almost like when one of your friends is going on a charity run or something like that, and you're donating money to them, and he gives you an update of the time he did it in. Okay.
Yep.
So that doesn't change the way of development whatsoever. Those guys are still going to make that game how they want, how they described in the initial Kickstarter page, and give you the occasional update. The way that WMD works, well, the mass development, is you join us as a team member. So when you sign up, when you donate however much money, you're giving us funds to make the game, sure, but you're also paying for a backstage pass, okay? And that backstage pass lets you kind of go behind the scenes and see us making the game day by day, hour by hour, reading everything that our discussion is on a forum that you have complete access to. You can talk to us. You can, we can put polls up and ask you questions like what's the average desktop resolution you guys are using, or what's the most popular wheel you guys are using, or what cars do you want to see in the game, or things like that, or we've put this thing in the game. Do you think it sucks, or do you think it's pretty cool? And you can talk to us and contribute to the game right here and now. So as I say, if you see us going in the wrong direction, if you see us spending a lot of time on a feature that you're like, actually, I'm not really fussed about this particular feature, we'll put it to a poll and go, okay, does anyone else feel like this? And if the overarching majority says, yeah, we'd rather you concentrate on this, then yeah, fine, off we go, and we'll go and do that. And yeah, literally hour by hour, you could have the forum open all day long, and you could just talk to us all day. We've got work to do as well, guys. But whenever possible, we try to. We have like a liking system, like a Facebook like. So if we see a comment from you guys and one of us agrees, we can quickly like it just to say, yeah, we've read it, we agree with you, we're on it. And then we also give you two major things. So we give you perks. So, named after the Call of Duty perks. We give you the more that you fund into the development of the game, the more stuff you get back. Yeah. So in the case of Project Cars, for example, you will get your name in the game. You will get, if you are part of a racing team or something like that, give us your logo, and we'll put your logo in the game as something that people can map onto the cars. If you are a company, we will put your company name on the arm codes or on billboards, things like that. You can get exclusive access to cars and tracks before other members do. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And then the second thing is, when the game finally gets released, you're going to get some money back based off how well it sells. And this is based off the whole concept that when you're paying money to develop the game, you're actually joining us as a member of the team. So we treat you like a member of staff, and that is why that communication between you and us is equal. We want to get your thoughts on the game, and similarly, you can read what we're doing and comment on it as well. You are becoming one of us now. You are a member of staff, and when the game gets released, we want to therefore reward you for that input, and we will then pay you with what we call fees. So, if you think this is pretty cool, if you think the idea is cool, then just for €10, you can literally just join up, talk to us, see how the game's being made, and yeah, potentially when the game comes out, you're going to get, we're rewarded for it. So
that's really cool. I think that's the first time ever. It's the first time I've ever seen a company do their own crowdfunding, if you will. Especially at this level where you so much input from the users and so much interaction, and then on top of that, adding the perks, and then the in the future when the game gets released, the fees back or whatever. It's really, really cool and very creative, and I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons you guys have received so much help and so much support, is because of the creativity behind it, and it makes everybody excited because you've obviously put a lot of thought not just into the game but into the world of mass development as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's we're not the only developers out there who've got great game ideas but just haven't got the resources to actually get them made. We're not the only people out there, and you're starting to hear more of those stories of that kind of honesty coming out of like, we had this great game idea, we went around to a load of publishers and just no one believed in it, and now we've got a Kickstarter page and hopefully we can get it made that way. There's a lot of retro games. I saw Carmageddon was there's a Kickstarter page for Carmageddon, and there's a lot of kind of iOS and mobile kind of games in development, but no one's really kind of taken it to this level where this is for like a AAA console game coming out like next year, and we hope it's going to sell. We've got reasonable forecasts for it and things like that, but we hope it's going to sell like a fairly substantial amount of units and stuff. We think the idea is pretty cool, and if you join us, then we're going to reward you for that.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very different, but also awesome at the same time. Not different in a bad way.
Unique, you mean?
Yes, that's unique. There we go. That's the better word. So when you guys get to the point where you're ready to release this game, what platforms are you looking to release it on?
So we always develop concurrently. So in parallel, we have the PC, 360, PS3, and Wii U platforms kind of in development. So this is great for everybody. It means that the PC users, the PC is always going to have the latest hardware, technology, all that kind of stuff. So just much like Crysis or Battlefield, the PC version is the one we're concentrating on. It's gonna look awesome. It's gonna have the highest frame rate. It's gonna have the best shaders. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. But because we develop on the consoles at the same time, it also means that the console users don't get the raw end of the deal. There's a potential. People potentially think that console games get ported right at the last minute from the PC version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about other studios, but certainly we don't. Usually the console versions are maybe a month behind the PC version in terms of features or the frame rate or whatever. So we develop everything in conjunction at the same time, and that means that everyone gets the very best out of the game.
Sure, that's. I think they think that's a good way to develop it. Like you said, I don't know how other studios do it, but it makes sense to me to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk. I can't speak for other people, but it kind of makes sense. Kind of makes common sense, doesn't it?
Sure,
if you realise that you put this awesome feature in that looks great on the PC, and you are developing on the console as well, someone can raise a red flag immediately and go, "Guys, this is never going to run on the 360, or this is the PS3 is really struggling with this," and you can make the changes right there and then, as opposed to developing on the PC and then right at the last minute converting to the console and going, this isn't working, so we're just gonna have to pull it, unfortunately.
Sure.
So,
yep. I'm gonna ask a question now, and you probably won't be able to answer, and I understand you can't. But I just want to. I know that the Wii U is in production soon. I mean, they're going to be releasing it in the next, I don't know when, in a year and a half or whatever, I think. How has it been developing for it?
So I can't really talk about that at the moment.
Yes,
but there'll be some stuff at the at E3 about the Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah. No, I figured that. I had to ask just because I was curious. So as far as getting more information, where would our listeners be able to go? The easiest place to get all the information and to be able to join up if they want to with you guys.
Okay, so if you want to head over to www.wmdportal.com, then basically that has all the information that you need to know. So the homepage has got all the latest news. There's something happening every single week, whether it's a announcement of a new set of cars or a bunch of screenshots that the community have made. Oh, that's another thing worth mentioning as well. All the trailers and screenshots that we put out are made by you guys. It's made by the community. A lot of the time, or potentially a lot of the time, a trailer gets released, near the release of the game, and it's not actually the game. It's some sort of hyper real render or something like that, and it's potentially not representative of the actual game. All the screenshots that we put out there are done by you guys, so you can be assured that they're very honest. They are taken by real players that haven't enhanced them in any way. It's actually what the game looks like. But yeah, the website's got the latest news on there, and then if you click on the About button, that basically tells you everything you need to know. It tells you what WMD is, what the first game in development for it is, Project Cars, the different tiers, the tool packs that you can buy, and then from then on you can then jump into a project and get going. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So they can all head over to wmdportal.com, right? Is that correct? I think you already said it, but I'm not sure.
Yep. wmdportal.com, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And they can get as much information as they want over there. I know there's plenty of information, and they can check out how to get a part of the project, to be a part of the team as well.
Yep.
Now, I have one last question. It has nothing to do with the game or with your development company. I kind of like to ask a question at the very end of the podcast, just so that people get to know the developers themselves. What as far as gaming goes, you probably don't have a lot of time to do it. But what kind of games do you play, and what are you currently playing, if you're playing anything?
Well, I actually, so I don't know whether this is. I don't know whether I'm the anomaly here, but yeah, I play a ton of games. So I was playing Diablo 3 until 2 in the morning last night, and a little bit of Star Trek Online, and then I'm still trying to wade through Mass Effect 3 at the moment. I absolutely love that game to bits, but I just haven't found the time to actually go downstairs, fire it up, and just keep going with it. What else did I play? The Walking Dead on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, I played that recently. I really like that, actually. They did a good job with putting it over to a system. I like the concept of the way they did it.
Yeah, I love the. It's like an old point-and-click adventure mixed with like Heavy Rain or something like that, with more kind of gesture-based thing. But yeah, I foresee that Diablo 3 is going to be taking the most time off my hands. I still haven't worked out which class is the best at the moment. I went with a Witch Doctor, but I found it confusing because you can pick up axes and swords, right? Mm-hmm. And you can equip them, but you only ever fire with a blow dart. So I don't know there's a bit of a disconnect there.
Sure.
So,
I haven't had a chance to actually play it, but I know I'd like to pick it up and take a look at it, but I just haven't had a chance to go get it.
Well, you guys in America can't play it anyway because the servers are all down. So.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I've been reading about that.
I don't know whether it's fixed yet or not, but I don't think we've had as much problems over in Europe.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. You probably haven't had very many problems with it yet.
Nah, not so much.
Yeah, well, you guys are lucky.
Anyway.
Yeah, moving on. So yeah, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you very much for coming on here and doing an interview with us.
That's all right. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you on again if you'd like in the future when you get more information and as you get closer to release.
Yep, absolutely. We'll get in touch, and it would be an honor to come back again.
Thank you very much, and thanks again for the interview. Enjoy playing Diablo 3.
Thanks.
And hopefully you'll get some time to play Mass Effect 3. I've played through a lot of it, and I really love the game, but it's a massive game, and it's very hard to take the time to sit down and actually play through it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all before Lollipop Chainsaw comes out. Looking forward to. So yeah.
I don't know if we're actually going to get it or not, but I'm trying to get in touch with the developer to be able to get somebody on and talk about that because it's a very, very interesting game.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see. I'll email you if we get anybody on, so you can take a listen to it.
Great, thank you.
But again, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I know I'm really excited about the game, and I'm sure everybody else is too. And to everybody out there that wants to get more information, WMDportal.com, and you can get all the information there and help support Slightly Mad Studios because they're doing an awesome job, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks for listening, and remember to check back every Thursday for more interviews with the developers of your favorite games. For more information on this week's game, go to WMDportal.com. Make sure to check out next week's special Tuesday episode with The Workshop about their new game for PS3, Sorcery. The interview with Q is brought to you by BagoGames.com, your source for the latest news, reviews, and more. Check us out at BagoGames.com. That's BAGO Games.com. Thanks again for listening. Remember to come back next week for more of the interview with Q. This is Q, signing off.